So one of the problems is when it comes to society, there's some really sick, nasty, twisted, fucked up people around. And it has to do with criminal organizations and people that are unscrupulous and want to make a buck no matter what. We're dealing with that kind of problematic situation right now. So if you look at South Korea and you look at their intertwined functions of their government and what had happened about 6 months up to the point that Donald Trump was elected, and then shortly after that with Joseph, i.e. second in command, which is Elon Musk, which is a Egyptian black community thing that they use in the Bible as a weapon. Of course, they don't believe in the Bible. They just know that it's basically the allegories in the Bible hack the universe so they can do all kinds of sick, nasty, twisted shit behind your back while pretending like their shit doesn't stink. So these Egyptians, they understand that the allegories in the Bible are meant to hack the universe in a way to where they can manipulate the reality around them. That's what they don't want to tell you. So Elon Musk is Joseph, and that's why he became second in command, and they broke all these constitutional rights and violations, which was breaking the covenant with God, which very well shows you that when a elitist Illuminati cult decides to break the covenant with God, of people, millions of people who have been chanting one nation under God, have been using a monetary currency that says in God we trust as a transference of value and meaning. You know, like you've got the book Maps of Meaning by an individual who he drinks from the very cup that he poisons, and that is obvious. So so the point of what I'm trying to say is that what you're seeing right now with Joseph breaking the covenant of the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights and watching things fall apart and things get nightmarishly bad. You look at last 2 or 3 Octobers ago, he's wearing devil armor during Halloween. You got Heidi Klum wearing the worm, you know, the worm that does not die. Anyways, that's a biblical quote. Hollywood is inherently dark, inherently satanic, and they think they're being cute until they realize that, you know, what they're doing doesn't get them anywhere in this world. It gets them somewhere after they die. The material possessions they receive here, it's not going to constitute the consequences they'll receive when they leave this place. And so, you know, it's the whole mentality of you got to pay to play. And so you look at all these fucked up Epstein Islands around, it's kind of a reverse, because, you know, the Satanists do things backwards, they walk backwards, etc., etc. They got to play to pay. In other words, they got to play to get paid. So they have to do weird, sick, twisted shit to even be allowed into that group, which is why if you're highly intellectual, highly comical, capable of doing stuff, they'll just steal your ideas outright. They'll just fucking steal your ideas. They'll put them on TV. They'll mock you. They'll make fun of you. They'll fuck you up. And then they'll sit there after 20 years, and if they can't put you in the ground or blame you for some bullshit, like Pee Wee Herman, they did the same thing to Pee Wee Herman. If you look at the TV show, what was it, The Dating Game, with Pee Wee Herman on it, they made him number 2. The host put his thumbs up at the beginning of the show, and they made Pee Wee Herman look like a complete fucking idiot, which is probably why he couldn't get a girlfriend. He ended up jerking off in a porn fucking theater or whatever. You need to understand, back then, for the paparazzi to run around and chase you around to get that film picture, they'd have to be basically stalking you like they were fucking investigators or police. So it's all part of the system. It's all part of the system in the way that they play the game, and they look for someone to blame for their bullshit. So welcome to the Illuminati, welcome to the government, and welcome to the dark triad of the assholes who try to run the world and think they're going to get away with doing it to somebody who was born from a royal bloodline that has to do with, well, you would call a religious divinity. So once you see it, you can't unsee it. There are people who make covenants with the devil and get what you would call superficial power And that would be kind of like evangelists. You know, I was listening to a guy that used to be an evangelist, and he said those are the worst Satanists out there, is the one that hide behind the cover of evangelists, because they're very giving. They'll definitely give you the knife that they're going to stab you with. They'll give you the wound, and then they'll look for the wound that they give you, and then they'll take the very knife that they put in your hand and punch you in the face with it until they kill you and say, why are you punching yourself? That's basically the equivalency of a satanic evangelist. And the very ethnicities that are inherently the majority evangelists are the very people who will tell you how bad it is. So Satanists, you know, they'll use the Bible to hack the universe and use it against the very people who are fighting for good. That being said, the scaffolding that the Illuminati tries to use to hold society up doesn't work when the massive population that they try to reside over no longer is willing to play their fucking games. You'll sit there and you'll look at the way that they behave and the things that they do, and you can kind of see how things are falling apart. Well, it's like I said before with Joseph and the Egyptians, and how they've gone from basically enslaving people to build a pyramid in 2000, 3000 BC in Egypt, moving all the way down south to Nelson Mandela. Oh, by the way, they're spending $1 billion in Egypt to build a very large museum right next to the pyramids, as if they're going to show you everything that the reality of the situation and what was hiding in the pyramids and what was going on there. Anyways, I joke about it. I say that those 3 pyramids were a battery system for the alien species that crashed on this planet and forced the Egyptians to turn into slaves to build jumper cables. Right, 3 pyramids. It's a 3-phase jumper cable system to jumpstart the fucking alien ship to get them off of the planet. So it's kind of like, they spent 20 or 40 years building one pyramid, and it's like, fuck, not enough juice to fire off the jumper cables, right? So it's just a comical joke. What in reality, what we're dealing with is a scaffolding of lies to get us to sit here and build stuff and mine resources on the planet that human beings think that they're the apex predators of, that never had free will to begin with. So when I tell you you've got people poking and prodding you, and they'll try to do everything they can to stop you from being successful, when you see the reality of the situation, yeah, Hollywood will sit there and steal ideas from you for decades and pretend like their shit doesn't stink until they get caught. And so I have to be honest, I'm tired of having people call me up and try to apologize for their bullshit. I'm tired of people not paying me what I deserve, and I'm tired of being the scaffolding of what holds up the society. So a mandibular tori has to do with lumps on the inside of your lower jaw of a bone growth. That would be the same thing that happened with Scarlett Johansson and the AI creature with the two fucking horns facing downward. Yeah, that was another thing that they used from my experience of a poison that's